The Shooting Range. In this episode, Pages of History, Light Tank or SPG, Round Study Challenge, Setting New Bombing Records, and Metal Beasts, Long Range Air Combat Master. The Persian Tomcat event is almost complete now, which means it's time to ride the main reward, the Iranian version of the F-14A. It's a great opportunity to remember how to fly this long-range master. The power plant of this aircraft is identical to the early modification of the American Tomcat. It has a twin turbojet engine with a total afterburning thrust of 16,000 kilogram forces. The number seems impressive enough, but the machine also weighs more than 18 tons without fuel or weapons. In modern air combat terms, the F-14 is nowhere near record thrust-to-weight ratios. But while modern fighters can indeed offer better flight performance, it doesn't matter much for long-range missile carriers. What an interceptor needs is just to climb high. The Iranian F-14 has two types of munitions with active radar homing for attacking from really far away. Number 1 is the familiar AIM-54A, and number 2 is the unique Fakhur 90, produced in Iran. The latter are a bit inferior to the Phoenixes in terms of maximum speed, but their acceleration is much higher. You can see it clearly if you launch them both at once. The Persian Tomcat can only install those under the fuselage, and only up to 4 units, so you need to pick something else for the wingtip hardpoints. For instance, the Iranian Sejil with semi-active homing. Compared to other AAMs of the type, they have better speed and an extreme range, allowing you to attack hostiles from large distances. Keep in mind, though, that these missiles require a continuous highlight from your aircraft radar. There's another option for the wingtip hardpoints, the Soviet R-27R. It's not the ER version, of course, but it's still maneuverable enough to work well or even better than others at medium and short ranges. Now, what we haven't covered yet is mixed battle capabilities. Your main focus should fall on the heavy Yasser rockets that are basically a combo of a regular bomb and a SAM. Each of those weighs more than 700 kilograms with 200 kilos of explosives in TNT equivalent and a top speed of up to 850 meters per second. That's a new record in pretty much every number. All in all, the Persian Tomcat is a legendary fighter with some truly unique weapons. The 2S-25 Sprut SD is called both a light tank and a self-propelled anti-tank gun. Despite this seeming contradiction, both statements are valid to an extent. This machine was developed as a light platform with a strong cannon, suitable for air transportation and moving across bodies of water. The project actually took decades to complete due to differing views on its design and primary purpose. Back before World War II, the USSR took note of floating combat vehicles. Crossing rivers had always led to huge losses, so the military command arrived at the need for specialized vehicles. That's how the PT-76 joined service in 1951. It was widely used abroad but never became truly popular in the Soviet Union proper. One of the possible reasons for this is that the Army would often try to use the tank as a reconnaissance vehicle, something it was never made to be. The niche of a light amphibious tank was later occupied by the BMP-1, a simple, reliable machine with decent firepower and a personnel compartment. The idea of employing floating tanks was cast aside but never fully forgotten. Not much later, the work on creating a specialized machine continued. Objects 906, 685, 934, and other machines reached the trial stage, but none of the projects felt needed. No matter what ratings the commissions gave them, none of the designs could reach mass production. The Object 685 was used as a base for the BMP-3, a vehicle with better armament and the capability to carry troops. The need for floating tanks was covered again. But progress went on. All around the world, new generation main battle tanks appeared, and hitting those opponents required new, more capable guns. So the Soviet engineers went back to Object 934 and got down to designing. The vehicle received a 125mm cannon with a new recoil mechanism and a lightened version of the T-72's autoloader. The larger caliber also forced the engineers to improve the chassis. They took the BMD-3's tracks and added 2 more road wheels to them. The rear housed a 10-gear transmission, 5 gears for forward and reverse movement respectively, and after some deliberation, a conventional design for the crew compartment was chosen, although the team even experimented with an armored enclosure. The resulting machine, however, was anything but conventional. With a mass of 18 tons, the Sprute had the firepower of an MBT, could be transported by aircraft, and move across water at a speed of up to 9 kilometers an hour. The most obvious disadvantage was its weak aluminum armor. A small batch of Sprutes was produced and joined service after the collapse of the Soviet Union. In the end, the machine was called an SPG and given a highly specific task: support troops at long range while avoiding direct contact with the enemy. Meanwhile, the concept of a light tank seems to have finally become a thing of the past. It's been almost 5 years since we tested how many tanks we could destroy with the single biggest bomb available in the game, the Soviet Fab 5000. Our result back then was pretty impressive, more than 3,000 BT-5s. But the years have changed our game beyond recognition, with numerous new munitions added, including aircraft bombs. Today we'd like to throw a little challenge and find out how many ground vehicles we can destroy with a single bomb drop. It's also a good chance to compare the 3 biggest HE bombs in the game. Please welcome the participants: the British HC Mark II, 8,000 pounds, the legendary Soviet 5-ton bomb, the Fab 5000, and the new record setter, the British HC Mark I, 12,000 pounds. For our targets, we're taking the Gaz AAA that has no armor whatsoever, and the heaviest tank in the game, the German Maus. Experience gained in previous tests tells us that munitions with this level of destructive power can wipe out vehicles in the thousands. War Thunder's game engine was never meant to deal with this kind of load, so we're going to approximate the maximum number of frags using the largest radius where a bomb damages all vehicles beyond repair. Let's start with the 8,000-pound drop. The anti-air trucks are all set within a 100-meter circle. Fire in the hole! All targets destroyed. Let's gradually widen the circle to 103 meters. Now some of the machines managed to survive the explosion. Looks like 102 meters is the limit for the third most powerful bomb in the game. After some simple calculations, we can assume that this circle can fit around 3,000 anti-air trucks. Next is the Fab 5000. We'll start with a 105-meter circle, and yes, all targets destroyed. Let's widen the range to 110 meters. No survivors either. After a few more drops, we can finally reach the maximum radius, 117 meters. If put together tightly, more than 4,000 such trucks can fit inside the circle. And now it's time for the most powerful conventional bomb in the game. Its caliber is a whopping 12,000 pounds, and the mass of its explosive part exceeds 6 tons in TNT equivalent. It beats the previous record with the very first attempt. A few more test drops and we reach the new record radius, 128 meters. A simple approximation leads to a truly impressive conclusion. This bomb can potentially destroy more than 4,700 anti-air trucks. Time to do some tests on our lab rat. We mean the high and mighty Maus. It's so huge that many fewer of these tanks can fit into the circle. Besides, it has good armor all around, helping it survive much closer to the drop area. Let's cut to the chase and show you the record drops right away. An 8,000-pound bomb can render all Maus tanks within a radius of 53 meters useless. That's more than 260 vehicles. The 5-ton bomb extends this radius to 62 meters and raises the bar to 360 heavies. And now for the record setter. A single such bomb destroys all Maus tanks in a radius of 68 meters, and a total of 440 machines. Well, the work is done for today, so it's time to clock out. Tell us in the comments what other weapons you'd like to see compared. Meanwhile, we'll try to find what to do with these thousands of tons of destroyed vehicles, although it can wait till we read your comments. Cue the intro, please. The first question was sent by a player called Fractured Butt Hole. What's the fastest prop plane in the game? Hey there! The American A2D can fly the fastest among prop planes. Its turboprop engine allows it to reach almost 800 kilometers an hour in horizontal flight. Sniper Not TF2 asks, how do I use the clickbait right? Hi, Sniper Not. As is the case with most MBTs, the Abrams tanks are highly versatile. Almost any tactic works with them as long as you remember the pros and cons of your machine. The clickbait has a pretty good rate of fire and enjoyable mobility. Its flaws include somewhat unreliable hull armor and a large turret ring. We recommend you try to move around the map often and use positions that hide the lower part of this tank. Another question comes from Michael McKillican. Is the HE on the Object 775 for the USSR even effective at its BR? Hello, Michael. The HE shell of the Object 775 has a pretty good penetration rate, but its ballistics make landing shots tricky. The missile is much more convenient and efficient in most cases. Chrisman El Furi Basado writes, which one of all the MiG-23s has the best radar? And which one is the best at turn fights? Hi, Chrisman. The MLA and MLD versions have the best radars, but they're almost identical to their predecessors in all other regards. As for flight performance, the MiG-23 MLD is the best. And the last comment for today was written by Father Exo. Can we get a Metal Beast session about the J7E? Hi, Exo. We've already talked about this aircraft in episode 257. Check it out. We'd just like to add that the J7E shows impressive efficiency now, thanks to the PL-5B missiles. That's it for today. You've been watching The Shooting Range by Gaijin Entertainment, and the next episode will premiere the following Sunday at 4 p.m. GMT or noon Eastern Time. Subscribe and click the bell if you don't want to miss our next videos. Don't forget to set your bomb timers right, leave a like, share your thoughts and comments, and see you next week.